So I just watched the British Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, or whatever the hell his name is, talk about those who chant from the river to the sea, meaning the phrase the Palestinian protesters use, Palestine will be free, or basically terrorists, and he will not support terrorism. So I just want to I want to talk about power of language, because the power of language and the ability of the wicked to manipulate language has been recognized all throughout time, and many great people talked about it. For example, Malcolm X said, if you are not careful, then the media will have you hating the oppressed and loving the oppressor. And he actually said that in a speech regarding Palestine that he gave, and I recommend everybody listen to that speech. But this guy says, we will not support terrorism, and whoever says this is a terrorist and an anti-Semite. When he says this, he's using language. So the words are created to carry emotions. So terrorism is, of course, bad. We all think that this is bad. Anti-Semitism, also bad. This is just a form of racism, and all racism is a terrible thing, right? So he said, if you are seeking the freedom of these people, and if you want these people to be free, then you are an evil man, you are a terrorist, and you are a dirty racist, is what he says. But let me unpack the language and kind of put it into context, right? What is a terrorist? The way they have it set up is you can only be a terrorist if your skin is brown, or you come from an unapproved ethnicity or religion, or if you don't have the money to have the most modern weapons. So they say if you somehow kill yourself while trying to kill the enemy's soldiers, what they call suicide bombers, then you are a terrorist, right? Where that is a distinction that's stupid as hell, right? If that person had money and technology to be a jet pilot, then he wouldn't be a suicide bomber. He would be a jet pilot. And suicide bombing is not an exclusively Muslim thing. The Tamil Tigers did it. It has been done in several different cultures, several different religions, right? When a soldier jumps on a grenade, did he just commit suicide, or did he actually do something out of despair to save his comrades, right? So they equate despair with evil intent. Now, I don't approve of any of that. I don't approve of suicide bombing. I don't approve of dropping 2,000-pound bombs on civilians. I don't approve any of that, so don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, it's not what they're saying it is. They're using tricks of language, right? Or these, what's happening in Israel right now, right? In Gaza. So they're killing 13,000, they just murdered 13,000 children in 140 days. That's like, something like that has not happened in a very, very long time. It is an actual bloodbath. 13,000 dead children, 25,000 orphans, over 100,000 casualties, destroyed hospitals. Is that terrorism? Is it terrorism to ethnically cleanse people and shut them up in a ghetto? Is it terrorism to deny them every right, to deny them everything, and to be in complete control over them forever? Is it terrorism to bomb those people occasionally and just summarily execute them in the street? Right? Is that terrorism? And now the supporters of Israel are going to say, no, that's not terrorism. They deserve it in Gaza, yada, yada, yada. Except I'm not talking about Gaza. I'm talking about Warsaw Ghetto. Because Nazis ethnically cleansed the Jewish people out of their homes and stuck them in Warsaw Ghetto and then murdered them there as they wished and restricted entry of any goods as they wished. Was that terrorism? I say that was terrorism. And because you thought I was talking about Gaza, you damn well recognize that what is happening in Gaza is terrorism. But the Western media and these people like Sunak, whatever the hell his name is, the British Prime Minister, they say opposing that is terrorism. Because whoever is opposing it, they don't have the money, the uniforms. Just because Nazi soldiers wore uniforms, that doesn't mean they weren't terrorists. They were terrorists. And just because the Jewish heroes of the Warsaw Ghetto didn't have any other ways than themselves to defend themselves, and they sacrificed themselves, that doesn't make them terrorists, even though the Nazis called them terrorists. That is why they were killing them. So that's that one word. This word terrorism is used to misconstrue what is actually happening, to make the guilty look innocent and the innocent look guilty. They just use language to do that, because you have to understand, what they understand is that victimhood is true power. There is no truer power than victimhood. If I am the victim, if I convince people that I am the victim, that I can kill you and go about my day and do nothing. And that is exactly why they're trying to do this, to use this language like anti-Semitism and terrorism. What is terrorism? What is anti-Semitism? Anti-Semitism is assuming that all Jewish people are the same and they all share the same goal and they all share the same responsibility for what is happening, right, in Israel. That's anti-Semitism. So if you are against the right-wing Israeli government, then you are anti-Semite. That's like completely ignoring that there are organizations like B'Tselem and others in Israel that have been working for decades to expose what the extremists among them are doing, and American organizations like Jewish Force for Peace, who people are there getting arrested out here to stop this. And you're talking about, if I oppose Netanyahu and Itamar Ben-Gvir and Daniel Weissman and Bezalel Smotrich, then I am an anti-Semite. No, you are the anti-Semite because you're putting them all in the same box. These people are just people like us. They have different ideas. They have different political spectrums of their society. So these are anti-Semites, idiots like Sunak. And not to mention the whole chant, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. The Israelis say a lot worse than that. And not only people, but actual politicians and actual settler people that run their settler movements. They have plans, and it's the 1977 Likud platform that Israel is going to rule all that land. That's literally what they said on a written document. Or if you're talking about religious extremism, it is the religious extremists who are moving from their comfortable homes out here in the West. They have millions of dollars that they could have just spent here at home, and they're sending them over there so they can take some poor farmer's land. Dude got a couple of goats, and he got some olive trees, and they go down and burn that stuff down. That's not terrorism. Language. So when you understand that they are using language to paint the innocent as guilty so they can justify what they're doing to them, that is when you will realize who these people are. So whether it's Sunak or Biden or Netanyahu or MBS or CC, it doesn't matter. All of them are the same. Words like terrorism, anti-Semitism, racism, they are meant to create boxes of good and bad. And when you understand that, that's when you will understand how you are manipulated. Because we're manipulated here at home because I'm an American. I want what's good for America. That's really should be any American's primary concern. We don't have any money. We're 30 trillion in debt. And we want, George Washington in his farewell address told us to do business with nations. And we are isolating ourselves on a world stage, being the only ones saying, no. They can continue killing children with repeated vetoes at the United States Security Council. That's crazy. We're isolating ourselves. People are not going to want to do anything with us eventually. Or that we're taking money that we don't have. Israel, they got free healthcare. They got super cheap education. And we're taking money from people here who are struggling to pay for their healthcare. And we're taking money here from people who are struggling to pay for their education. And we're sending it to a first world country who has all of that. But they just spent too much money killing children who happen to be terrorists. Because they are not of the right ethnicity. And that is the last thing. When we're talking about anti-Semitism, we're talking about racism. And when we're talking about racism, if you are telling me that you have to check whether a bomb fell in Tel Aviv or in Gaza before you were outraged, then that's racism. If you are telling me that you would be this apathetic if there was 13,000 Jewish children dead in Tel Aviv instead of 13,000 Palestinian children dead in Gaza, that it would not be a big deal, then you're racist. There's no humanity in you. As an American, I think that we should not be sending money to terrorists who happen to wear uniforms in Israel. I think we should not be sending money to racists who are enforcing apartheid in the West Bank. There's no Hamas in the West Bank. I don't think we should be doing any of that because it is bad for us. And I don't know why our politicians are just like on their knees for these people. We don't owe them nothing. But as George Washington said in his farewell address, having favorite nations and all that, creating that kind of stupidity will make us a satellite state, great and powerful nation, a satellite state of a nation that we owe nothing to and we have nothing in common with. That's what it is. That's why I'm pissed.